Thank you so much for your patience. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Adjustment meeting of the City of Castle Hills will meet on the 28th day of January 2019 at 5:30 to consider the following agenda. Number one, we're calling this meeting to order, and there is a quorum present. I want to consider, item number 2 is to consider the approval of the meeting minutes from September 24th board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been made in second. Any comments on the minutes?
Chairman, I was not attending, so
It doesn't matter. You can still vote on it, Mr. Squire.
okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. It has been moved and second. If there's no discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimously approved.
Next meeting, we'll have the August 27th on there.
Thank
that
you,
have been
Mr.
completed.
Rapley.
We just didn't get them in time to be posted correctly.
That's fine. Thank you very much. I am going to make a statement before we go any further. If there is any item on this agenda that you feel you must abstain, tell us now so we can seat another person. Otherwise, please understand that your vote is necessary for the action this evening. Thank you. All righty. We're going to conduct a public hearing and consider an application from James McKnight, agent for Harvey P. and Margaret Hartenstein, property owners at 100 LaRuan Court, for the construction of an accessory structure with a side setback with less than 10 feet between the accessory structure and the primary structure, requiring a variance of the following. Section 50-98, area regulations, item B, side yard. The minimum side yard setbacks will be 5 feet, except on a corner. The street side yard shall be no less than 20 feet. Section 50-36, requirements applicable to all districts. Number 7, there shall be a minimum spacing of 10 feet between any detached ABSU and the main building and any other ASBU on the property. The public hearing, it is now 5-something. Can't see that clock. It is 5:36. We're opening the public hearing. Mr. McKnight, would you like to do your presentation, sir?
Good evening, everybody. My name is James McKnight, Brown & Ortiz Law Firm here in San Antonio, 112 East Pecan. I'm here representing the Hartensteins and requesting a variance, and there's 2 variances that are being requested. It's technically 3 sections, but it's 2 variances. It's 1, the building being in the setback area, and 2, that the building, the greenhouse that we're going to be referring to is less than 10 feet from the house. So I wanted to go through the findings of fact, as this is a finding for a variance. I think it's important that we actually discuss each one of them. Here, the variance is necessary due to a special or unique condition inherent in the property itself. These 4 things are really important. I think this is the most important thing for this property. It's a very unique property. The zoning is AA here as opposed to A, which is most of the residential neighborhood. That's one of only 3 developments in the entire city, small developments. Thank you. 2, the non-conforming lot. Sure, no, that's, I just didn't want to be too loud. There, is that better? Okay, good. Oh, we're getting an audience. That's good. Okay. So 2, the non-conforming lot. The lot itself is a non-conforming lot, as is really the entire neighborhood. When I get to the exhibits, I'll show you that. And the lot shape is very unique and is the only one like it in this particular neighborhood. And it's also bordered not just by 2 streets, but also an alley. So we're actually surrounded by 3 rights of way. So here is a map. It's hard to see, but this little area here, is where the neighborhood we're talking about. That's the AA zoning, Castle Gardens. That's only shown right here and down here, I believe, are the other areas of the city. Those are the only 3 areas in the city that are zoned AA, and that's a 7,500 square foot lot as opposed to a 14,000 square foot lot, which is the rest of the city. So just on that alone, it's unique. Here's a plat showing the neighborhood. This is our lot right here. This is the corner of Castle Gardens and Lorena Court. And one of the things I'd like to point out is that this entire subdivision, these are all side lots. It's hard to see, but I drew a cloud around that edge. All of those lots, those are the side yards. They're all 10 feet. That's the entire neighborhood. The side lots are 10 feet because that's how it was laid out in 1980. The provision that we're under where a corner lot has a 20-foot side setback, that is a newer regulation that came in 1995. We are a non-conforming lot. And as you can see right here, well, I can show you on the next one. Oh, sorry. It's a very unique shaped lot. It's 57 feet on this end here. That's Castle Gardens. 105 feet on this end. When this 10-foot setback here, there's already an existing, the home is there, the existing wall is there. Technically, this house is out of compliance because it's within the 10-foot setback, but it's not within the 20-foot setback. Again, legal non-conforming. You have an alley back here behind it. The alley requires a rear setback as well. If you apply the rear setback and the side setback of 20 feet on both sides, you essentially get rid of the lot altogether. Those regulations were not supposed to be imposed on a lot such as this, or at least if they were, you're left with almost nothing inside the lot. And certainly you would not be able to use any of your yard for an accessory structure. It would just ruin any ability to use your property for an accessory structure. Variance is necessary due to a condition not created by the owner. Obviously, we didn't lay out this lot. We didn't do the subdivision platting, and we didn't build the home when it was legally a non-conforming use. It wasn't non-conforming at the time, but when it was permitted and built in 1995. The complying with the ordinance will impose an unnecessary and unjust hardship. Again, this is an important one. This structure was built without a permit. We're not trying to hide that fact, but it wasn't something that we were knowingly doing. We found out after the fact. We relied on our contractor to build this greenhouse for us, and we thought he was following all those rules, and we found out after the fact. As soon as we found out, the first thing we did was talk to the city and try to work with them to file a variance to make sure we were doing what we were supposed to. But if the variance isn't applied, demolition is the only option. The entire shed is gone. And as I said before, because of the imposition of the current regulations on this lot, it would prevent any accessory structures altogether. This is the greenhouse that we're talking about. This is a quality, well-made cedar greenhouse. It wasn't just a shed that was thrown up somewhere. It was done with care. And as you can see, the side yard, we don't have much room in this backyard. This is the layout of this lot. And if we'll see in later slides, the entire neighborhood is laid out like this. The lots are maximized, and this is really all we're left with. So this is a small structure that we felt was just for the property owner and not meant to intrude on anybody's way of life in the city or neighborhood in particular. Hardship is not solely financial, and both number 5 along with that, without the variance, the owner would be denied a right to use the property. Now, we're not arguing that obviously if we can't have the greenhouse that we can't use the property, but I would argue that we'd not be able to use the property in the way that the rest of the city is able to use theirs in some sort of accessory structure. So it's really just about hindering the full use and enjoyment of the property. And that way, the hardship is not solely financial. It's also about the use and enjoyment of the property. Number 6, the granting of the variance will be in the public interest. Now, as I'll show in later pictures, this is behind already a 6-foot wall. This is unobtrusive. This is not in an area that is out on the street and extremely visible for people passing through. This is not a detraction from the quality or harmony of the neighborhood. And we've received 4 letters of support from our neighbors, especially the neighbor directly across the street. So it is difficult to see these pictures, but this is the wall that was existing, and it's hard to see, but this little sliver, that's it. That is the only part of the structure that you can see as you're driving down Castle Gardens. We're talking about 9 inches of cedar structure sticking up above the wall. On here, here's the top of the wall, and then there's the structure sticking over the top of that. Again, the trees and the landscape that you can see and enjoy as you drive through the neighborhood, they haven't been touched. We're not affecting any of that. The building, the greenhouse, is behind this wall. It is not out on the street. Directly across the street, again, this is Mr. Murray. We have his support, a letter of support from him. He is in exactly the same position we are. This building, that entire structure, is a legal non-conforming structure. All of this is not allowed under the current code. It's all built. That's a corner lot, and that is less than 20 feet of a setback. I didn't measure it, but I'm guessing it's built right on the 10-foot setback of the plat. So you can see this is just an example from right across the street. The neighborhood is laid out this way. This is not something that we created. It's just this extremely unique situation of this one small lot neighborhood compared to the rest of Castle Hills. Here's a map showing our property here, and then the green showing the letters of support that we received and one letter in opposition that the city received at the time of the agenda being published. And certainly, if the public interest is one of the considerations, I think it should be considered that those 4 folks felt compelled to send a letter in support, especially Mr. Murray directly across the street, who can see it most clearly from that location. But I think it's great in this picture also. BCAD shows generally the size of the homes on the lots. You can see all of these homes. They are laid out in a very different manner than in the rest of Castle Hills. The lot sizes are smaller and they're maximized. Again, it's a very unique situation. Every other lot that you're going to see is a 1/4 acre or more. Most of them are more like a 1/2 acre lots in Castle Hills. So it's just a very different kind of a layout than in this particular subdivision. Lastly, the granting of the variance will be in keeping with the spirit of the ordinance, and substantial justice will be served. So the point generally of having the setbacks, one reason to have setbacks in your code is to show a kind of harmony or uniformity in the neighborhood. It creates a better neighborhood. On a corner, having this setback is so that there's not a visibility issue. That's generally the reason to have that kind of setback. But in this sense, one, the uniformity is already there. This